You still don't believe in fallen angels, huh? Interesting. Well, after this video, you just might. What you first need to know is 4 years ago, I didn't believe in angels, fallen angels. I didn't believe in God, and I definitely didn't believe in the Bible. And then I was shown something about stars that sent me on a truth-seeking mission. And what I'm going to ask you to do for this video is clear your mind of any previously held beliefs and just look at things with fresh eyes. The mind of a child, perhaps. And let me take you on a journey that might just blow your mind. Because I'm going to build my case, and then I'm going to prove to you that fallen angels are here, walking amongst us. So buckle up, Buttercup. What you first need to know is that there are two sets of fallen angels. There is the third that rebelled with Satan, the third of all angels. And then there's also, from the book of Enoch, the 200 angels that were supposed to watch over humanity, but they took human wives and then were banished from heaven. 200 of them. And you know there are roughly 200 confirmed impact craters all across the earth. And, well, have you ever heard how they tell us the truth in plain sight?
We were not stoned then, but light. It was not our place to interfere. Yet we chose to try and help mankind. And when we disobeyed the Creator, He punished us. We were encrusted by your world. Rock and mud shackled our fiery glow.
There's 200 of them. Keep that in mind. There's also approximately 200 countries across the world. Interesting number. And remember, the 200 watchers, well, they were banished to Earth for taking human wives. We'll get back to that, but let's go to the third of all angels that fell. You see, 1/3 of all angels rebelled, and this idea comes from the book of Revelation, which uses a symbol of a dragon sweeping a third of the stars. In both the Bible and Apocrypha, not apocalyptic, texts like the Book of Enoch use stars frequently as symbols for angels and also fallen angels. And how many fell again? Well, 1/3 of all angels, and 1/3 is 0.33. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And who are these guys, and what do they get? Well, they're Hollywood celebrities, right? But what else do we call them? We call them stars. And the Bible and Book of Enoch talk about stars as representations of angels, including fallen angels. And they just happen to get stars on the Walk of Fame. Oh, and do you know it originally started with 199? And well, here's a star. That's John Travolta. And remember how I said they tell us the truth in movies? Well, have you ever seen this movie he was in? The movie Michael, where he played a fallen angel? And have you seen how he's been in the news lately for looking oh so youthful at 70 years and how it sparked widespread public attention for how youthful he looks? And not only that, but how he looks strikingly like this guy from the 1800s. That's a real photo. But I also noticed how he looks like someone else. He also looks an awful lot like this guy, Joe Namath. Oh, and what's that say up there? Stars of the NFL? And well, here's John, and here's Joe. And they even have the exact same butt chin. But it's not just the butt chin and their extremely similar looks. There's more. Joe and John, and excuse my former self, but they also share some very similar markings on their face. And well, what if fallen angels weren't just here in spirit, but like I said, encrusted in our earth, like that movie showed? Humans were said to be made from the dust of earth, and well, those two blemishes are in the same spot, and those two, and also a very specific and unique scar in their chin. You see it right here. See it here and right there. The same scar in the same spot on the same side of their face. Not to mention the exact same butt chin. And while I keep saying they tell us the truth in the movies and TV and also the music, Scar Tissue, that I wish you saw. There's a song called Drops of Jupiter. Tell me, did you fall for the shooting star one without a permanent scar? Don't think those stars won't align. Under your scars, I pray. You are like a shooting star in the rain. Even old Taylor Swifty here, at least you know exactly who your friends are. They're the ones with matching scars. What if the stars on the Walk of Fame aren't just a cute representation, but it's them telling us who they are? And why did a third come down here in rebellion? Well, they wanted to be worshipped like the Most High. And why did the 200 Watchers get banished down here? Well, not because they were prideful, but because they rebelled against divine law and chose human women. And remember, they tell us, you want to see what John Travolta's wife looks like? Joe and John and Joe's wife, and can you guess whose wife that is, who looks oh so exact? It's in the eyes for me. Well, that's Joe's wife, and that's John's wife. Because they're not doppelgangers, they're not clones, they're not vampires, they're fallen angels, my friends. And they've been here a long time. A lot longer than that. And remember, that's John Travolta and Joe Namath. John Travolta, who just happens to have the middle name Joe. And John Travolta, who has two sons, one whose name is Jet. Joe was a star for the Jets. And have you ever heard of this movie, City of Angels? Well, it stars Nicolas Cage, and it's about an angel who gives up his heavenly abode because he falls in love with a woman. Well, here's Andy Kaufman, and here's Nicolas Cage. And here's Andy Kaufman and Nicolas Cage's women. Those are supposed to be different women. Nicolas Cage, Andy Kaufman, and their wives. And you want to see something else interesting the Bible talks about? It talks about angels' appearance and how they had a human likeness, but each had 4 faces. And well, let me show you something about 4 faces. Here's Steve Carell, and here's Alice Cooper, and here's Cousin Larry from Perfect Strangers, and well, I think they have more than 4 faces, my friends. Because here's Dusty Highland of CrossFit, and here's his wife, and here's Steve Carell's wife. And the interesting thing about CrossFit is there's a lot of them there. In fact, I read this book back in my teaching days called The Supple Leopard by Kelly Starrett. And well, if you don't know, El is singular for Elohim, and oftentimes it is linked to angelic names. Michael, Gabriel, Azazel, but they like to put it other places as well. And they always like to tell us. Kel, El, and his name even has star in it, so there's double here. And back when I read this book, I always thought I recognized Kelly. And here's Kat L, E star et, and here's Ryan Reynolds. And you might not see it like these eyes do, but they always have scars that remain, kind of like these ones right here on his lip, just like Ryan Reynolds has on his lip. Do you see 1, 2, 3, just like Ryan in the exact same spot? And it's all of them. If you know them from TV, they're the fallen. And whether you think they're good, like singer-songwriter beach lover Jack Johnson, or evil, like Jeff Epstein here, it's all of them. And they all play multiple roles, deceiving humanity. Even the ones you think are nicest, like Robin Williams, and that's his wife, and that's Teddy Roosevelt, and that's his wife. And they've been deceiving humanity for a millennia. That's a 3,000-year-old pharaoh.